Las historias que te he contado siempre sobre dioses griegos y monstruos son reales.
¡Es de locos!
Eres un mestizo. Y los mestizos no...
Hi guys, I'm Rafa from Cartelera, Spain. How are you today?
Nice to meet
Very
you.
well, thank you.
Nice to meet you too. And first of all, congratulations and thank you in the name of all the fans for making this again and with so many details. So to start with, Rick, why did you think your books needed a second chance on screen, and why now? What made you say like, okay, this is the moment and I'm gonna trust again?
Sure. Well, the moment is because Fox, who owned the studio rights, was bought by Disney, who in the United States has always published my books. So I know Disney. And that was why I decided that Becky and I could go out to Los Angeles and talk to the Disney folks and say, you now own the rights to Percy Jackson. We should do something about that. We should try a new adaptation. And in terms of why, beyond the fact that we had the opportunity, I felt very strongly that a TV show was the right way to go because it would give us much more time to faithfully adapt the entire novel, The Lightning Thief, in one season. I'm very pleased that it turns out we were right.
We owed it to the fans. We owed it to the publishers to try again.
Yeah, and we thank you for that. And precisely, Rebecca, I wanted to ask you about why did you decide to make a TV series rather than a movie again? And more specifically, how has it been the challenge to adapt this huge mythology and its scale for a smaller screen?
Oh, we've had so much fun. The reason to make this television show instead of a movie, for example, in the movie, we'll just talk about it. It's like a bunch of set pieces strung together like a string of pearls. I'm going to say that because it's sort of a tie-in, right? And in a television show, we can get much more in depth and we can understand the characters' motivations. We can spend more time with their parents, which we didn't even get to do in the books, which is wonderful, especially as we want to try to make this a four-quadrant show versus a middle grade, 11, 12-year-old audience novel, right? So we have more time to do that, and we can do it in a way that's a lot more fun and a lot more in-depth.
Yeah.
Anything to add to that?
No, that's it. I think in 8 episodes, we were able to do almost everything we needed to do to convert the story.
I mean, you're always going to lose something, right? There's always, something that's a fan favorite that you have to jettison, So
Yeah, but the story feels right. It feels like Percy Jackson.
And Rick, now looking back, what did you learn from the process of making the movies, and what have been the main differences in this show compared to them?
Well, I mean,
you can watch this.
that's the main difference. I can watch the TV show and feel good. I never saw the movies. I read the scripts and I said, oh, no. And I never saw them. We weren't involved in the film. We weren't allowed to be involved.
Right.
And this time around, we have been involved in every step. We've been there. We're working on this now for 4 years to bring this to the screen. And yes, this was it. It was hard. I learned how hard the television industry people work to bring something to the screen. I gained a lot of respect for the people that do this for a living because, wow, I don't know.
Very long days, very hard work.
Oh, yes.
Lots of repetition.
And talking more in depth about your implication, Rebecca, I know these stories are really close to you and your family, so I wanted to know up to what point were both of you implicated on the process, and how did you know what to change or what to just delegate or take distance from?
Right. And like you said, the story is very personal to us. We have a son. Well, actually, both of our sons have learning differences. Rick and I have a variety of different sensory reading issues. I had trouble reading. Rick was a reluctant reader. So the story is very personal to us in all kinds of ways. And so having that does make the adaptation process a little difficult, because if you're in a writer's room, you're talking about things that maybe you don't talk about out loud. You know, what do the parents feel like? What do the characters feel like? And all the things that can happen in a TV show that you can have shown versus in a books where, you know, it's there on the page in the protagonist's head. So that was some of the challenges. What else?
But in terms of our involvement, we were involved in everything, and the casting and the writing of the scripts. We were on set during filming most of the time. The only things we really delegated, or the things we didn't know about.
We don't
like,
have expertise.
I mean, I'm not a director. I'm not going to tell the director what to do. I don't know anything about soundtracks, so I'm not going to, you know, control that. I'm more interested in the story, just to make sure the story is right.
And the tone, and that it feels authentic. And I think you were talking about, you know, like what do you let go of, you know, about the story. And Rick was reading from the book a few minutes ago, and I was remembering that I intentionally did not go back and read the book because I wanted to have an open mind about what other people wanted to bring to the story. And Dan Schatz often talks about how funny it is that the Riordans brought some of the more outlandish, brave changes to the story that you'll see in there, and everybody else were very faithful. I mean, the lines are, you know, like ripped right out of the story, for example.
So now that you can give every book like so many hours of footage, which is the one that you are more excited to adapt to the screen, and why, if you do have plans to make more adaptations?
Well, I mean, as far as more adaptations, we have to wait and see how the series does. I'm very encouraged by the early reaction. It's been extremely positive. So we're hopeful.
Yes.
If we are able to, then we would love to turn book 2 into season 2 and book 3 into season 3 and make the whole series. We'll have to wait and see.
Hopefully a lot of people will watch, and we'll hear very, very soon.
Yes. And in terms of what I'm most excited about in this season, I think meeting the god Ares is especially fun. I love that scene, and that will come in episode 5.
Puede que no necesite una espada. Voy a necesitar una espada.